Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be doing another max difficulty run, this time with S and some fire tactics. We're not going to be going nearly as heavily into tactics as we have been on some of the other recent runs, but we are going to be using them regardless. So for legacy characters, I'm starting with Fire Spirit Assist, Durable Split, Dash Burn, and Burn Bomb. Jin is also pretty important to have in specific with this build, because we want to freeze the enemy in place when we do our combo. That'll make more sense later. This build is kinda... it does have some DPS, but it's really dependent on doing a lot of burst when we use our legacy skills. It'll make more sense later. Anyways, for Mind Crystals, I'm going MP, Shop Discount, Chance Boost for Fire. We're actually taking the one where throwing away tactics will grant extra refreshes and exchange points. That one doesn't seem like it would be too powerful, but it does add up pretty quickly over the run if you're either doing a no tactic build or if you're not taking as many tactics. Which this build does not need a whole lot of tactics to really get going, so we probably will end up selling some by the end of the run. Early on for S, either of the Crest Arts upgrades are pretty strong. Triple Dash is just good on anyone in any situation. On S, in particular, it's a little bit better than other characters because of one of the other upgrades that makes it where dashing leaves crests behind. And then another good thing is Universal Enhancement. Always take this as soon as you see it on S. Universal Enhancement, where more crests can be generated. It is basically like playing a different character, playing S with or without this. Her attacks deal more hits, so they keep regular enemies in hit stun much better. And then just the damage output increase long term that you have for this is like make or break for the character. Don't really care about any of these options. Don't care about these either. There we go, Offensive Flurry. This is going to be really easy to stack on S, and any final damage boosts you see in this game are almost always good to take. Most of the damage increases in this game, like if you see for example, the Mind Crystals that give you like 30% attack or skill damage, those all get calculated before any other damage boosts. Meanwhile, final damage gets calculated after other damage boosts, so it's very, very powerful. Tactic damage also... final damage also affects tactics as well. So if you're running any kind of somewhat decent tactic build, you're getting a lot of value out of final damage, buffing both you and the tactics. I could pick up SP skill, but I don't want to pick it up quite yet. If you don't have a lot of refreshes to use, it is worth just picking it up early, though. Then next I'm going to pick up Universal Enhancement for jumping and dashing and reset attacks. I'm not going to bother using any refreshes on the tactic we see there. If it does give me a fire tactic, then good, I'll take it. If not, it's worth just selling back. Tactics you get from like an advanced battle space or from a shop don't get affected at all by chance boost if you're running the Mind Crystals for extra tactic chance. So you're seeing the entire pool of tactics for every single element, and you're not really likely to get what you actually need. I do need to be careful not to eat it on the Vanguard space. It is surprisingly easy to die to the Stage 1 Vanguards. Especially if you get the layout where you have to fight multiple of them at the same time. We're just gonna wait for Jen to be back up and freeze them, play it safe. Here I will have to fight both of them at the same time, though. I wonder, did I take an event? Did I take an event that reduced my HP at some point, and that's why I came in here with such low HP? I've kind of stopped paying attention to my HP in this game, which is a really bad habit to get into. I'm just so used to being able to heal so much off of Ragna Second Legacy that, like I said, I don't pay enough attention to HP. I think we'll just go ahead and take Defensive Flurry. I'm still not really... I'm not positive on how much that actually matters late game, but I can stack it up easily, so I'll take it instead of wasting rerolls on there. I feel like enemies hit so hard late game in high entropy, and having... It depends a lot on how many mutations you have on as well, if you're in extreme difficulty. But I feel like enemies end up hitting so hard that 30% damage reduction might not matter, but I don't know. We're getting a lot of advanced battle spaces, which I won't complain about. Especially since I care more about potentials right now than I do tactics. It would be nice to, if I probably could have taken one fire space. I need to not die. If I pop Ragna Legacy, I should just heal a bunch back with S, because she's so high multi-hitting. This Legacy always seems to work a lot better on multi-hitting characters. I mean, if I don't eat shit right after healing, it would also help. But hopefully we'll be fine. Running these really strong light builds so much recently has really affected my skill at the game, I have noticed. When you get so used to just one-shotting everything before you have to worry about it, it's really easy to get into the habit of doing things like not watching your HP and not paying attention to attacks. Gawain would be another good option to pick up early, especially if you aren't seeing the universal enhancement for more crests can be generated. It doesn't rely on that for its damage. I think I'm gonna wait to pick it up, just because if I do pick it up, it introduces 3 new tactics to the pool. Or 3 new potentials to the pool. And I'm looking for Mordred and Tristan first before this. I'll talk about the potentials more once we actually have them all set up. Same with the tactics. Because both of them are kind of things that it's easier just to explain them all at once than to keep stopping the run to explain them. So another trick you can do with the Mind Crystal to get extra for selling back tactics is that if you also have the entropy bonuses maxed out, you can buy a white tactic and sell it back for the same price, and you also get a refresh on top of it. It's a good way to cycle through tactics without wasting. In this case, I do need Legacy Fire Projectile, so I'm gonna pick it up here. But, like, here... Oh, it's actually just gonna give me all fire, so I can't really show it off, but... You can easily sell it back if it's not something you like. Like here, I will use one refresh, just because it's so cheap, but... we can take Durable Burn, just for the extra burn duration. But yeah, I wouldn't waste too many refreshes on tactics in the shop. Because like I said before, they're using the pool of all tactics. They're not being affected by chance boosted at all. We can get this just for the extra Tristan damage, I guess. And then, do I want to look at another blue tactic? Sure, why not? I'm only actually spending 20 by doing that, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm mostly wanting the air attack reset for Mordred, but I want it fully maxed out anyways, so picking up the invincibility on it's not bad. And let's refresh this once again. Nope, I don't like any of these options. Let's see how good the... Oh, the tactics aren't going to do shit right now. That's right. If I had a specific tactic upgrade for fire projectiles, they could maybe do some damage, but as you can see there, fire projectiles, wow. I can't believe my timing is just that off. It certainly doesn't help that I'm trying to talk during it, but that's not a timing I should have missed. But yeah, fire projectiles are just complete garbage without one specific upgrade for them. Let me see. Yeah, I still want to not pick up Gawain yet. I still have another thing I could pick up before that. You could also pick up SP skill early on as S. As long as you have the universal attacks for more crests can be generated, she gets a ton of SP. And then the SP skill isn't real high damage, but it is iframes if you ever need them. Oh, we got Black Market early. So, depending on what I see here, I might actually go character damage instead of tactic damage. I could go ahead and take exchange points. That's going to give us a lot of extra money to buy potentials. Or I could try to reroll for... I don't want to take this. I have way too many tactic slots open for it to give me what I want. And then... this would be good if I focus specifically on it, but I still probably need some tactics too. Here's what I want. Every time you clear a battle space without injury, the damage of attacks and skills will increase by 15%. This should be able to stack up to at least 200%, if not more, since I found it right away. And then, let's see, did I get everything I need? Yes, I got Tristan and Mordred. Mordred still has one upgrade, but it's not that big of a deal. So, down attack, universal, and... or down air, universal, and up attack. You can do up attack, grounded, or mid-air, but they all have upgrades to them that says you can reset your universal aerial attack count, which basically what that means is that normally if I jump and do an attack, I can only do 2 hits before I have to land on the ground and do more. With these, you can do your 2 hits and then do something like a dash and reset it, and then do a dash and reset it again. Works the same way with all of these, as soon as you have the upgrades for them. Do I not have the... Hang on. Oh, this one specifically has to hit the enemies for it to work. That's why it wasn't working there. But anyways, it just lets you stay in the air much longer for S, and she's much quicker in the air than she is on the ground. So if you really want high DPS out of her attack combos, you want to be doing aerial combat as much as possible. Another thing that's interesting is that it's hard to do on small enemies, but your up attack and your down attack will actually reset each other, so you can make an infinite loop and stay in the air forever. Let me see if I can... I don't remember the exact setup you need. Get the training enemy in the corner. But it's a lot easier to do on larger enemies. I should probably start taking some fire spaces over potentials now that we do have the main combo set up. Really, if everything goes well, and even I might just, like, refresh for it, I should only need 3 more tactics, and then the build is basically done. In this build, a lot of the damage actually just comes from the red tactics, so the upgrades that you get aren't nearly as important. Though I say that, and Focused Fire Projectile is just completely necessary. You always have to get this over any other upgrades for it. Otherwise, fire projectiles are just trash. You'll use them and they'll fire off in just every random direction around you. So most of them will end up hitting unless you're like inside of a boss when you use it. And the boss is like somewhat big. Whereas with Focused Fire Projectiles, they fire out in a cone in front of you, and you can pretty easily shotgun them into bosses. Which is also part of the reason why... This room layout's kind of weird, because there's one where there's a teleporter, and then there's one where the platforms open up on the side here. So I was just confused about why I couldn't progress. Really? No fire space? But anyways, yeah, like, Jin is very important for the build, because he actually keeps them in place while the fire projectiles are firing. This build does do some DPS, but it is mostly centered around doing really high burst damage when the legacy skills go off. We just need one more red tactic, and then I'll be able to explain how the tactics work. This build is not as strong as the light tactic builds we did before, which I don't think anything is going to be as strong as light this patch. But it is quite strong. You could run this as a build where you get the tactic damage from the black markets, like we did from other builds, which is what I would do if I didn't see black market early enough. Seeing it early means I can actually stack the most amount of damage out of the perfect clearing. See how high we already are. Yeah, we're already at 60% increased damage. If I decide to full clear Alpha Sector as well, Alpha Sector has a lot of rooms to stack it up. I might actually do that, assuming I don't somehow enter Alpha Sector with really low time left. Because I do need to figure out how many combat spaces are in Alpha Sector again, just to make sure they didn't change it since before the X patch. Before the X patch, you got a third shop in Alpha Sector, but you don't anymore. I'm guessing it's because of the infinite shop before Izanami. So kinetic power is just your final movement speed. It's not the movement speed that you're moving currently, if that makes sense. So the only way that I know of to actually get anything out of this is to have the Mind Crystal for movement speed, or be playing Prisoner, who gets movement speed when he's at a certain kill streak counter, I think it is. We can go for extra stacking damage from here too. I don't think this Covenant, or no, this Vanguard buff is necessarily that good, but we'll see how high it stacks up if I full clear Alpha Sector. I think in most cases you're better off just taking final damage though, because normal damage increases are calculated before other damage increases. Final damage is calculated afterwards. And then final damage also buffs your tactics as well. So if you're running a pretty decently strong tactic build, you're just getting a double buff out of having your character be stronger and your tactics be stronger at the same time. So the next thing we're probably going to do is... Man, where are my fire tactic spaces? This is stage 8 exchange anyway, so I wouldn't have taken one there. When the stage counter is at 8, your next selection will always have a shop on the first slot. Even if you have the spaces hidden, it will always be first slot is exchange. And luckily we're able to get our red tactic out of the shop, so we don't have to worry about damage for this next boss fight. Let's see. I would rather Ascend Fire Spirit combo. Wow, it's really just gonna show me the same thing again? Okay, there we go. We did finally get Fire Spirit combo. I don't mind picking up SP skill here either, since we're getting low on refreshes. I want to refresh the shop one more time. I don't really care about those too much. I might pick up the other upgrade for fire projectiles later, but I'll pick it up if I see it at a higher rarity. So the way that this build works is that, really for the main part, you only need Fire Projectile, Fire Spirit, and Fire Spirit Detonation, but Burn Bomb does increase your DPS quite a bit over the run, or over the course of a longer boss fight. But anyways, when you hit a burning enemy, Fire Spirits have a 50% chance to explode for a bunch of damage from Fire Spirit Detonation. That's where most of the damage comes from. But then we use Fire Projectile, Fire Spirit to convert all fire projectiles that hit something into a fire spirit. All of those fire spirits can also trigger the detonation effect. And then Burn Bomb just creates fire projectiles constantly when we're attacking burning enemies, and those fire projectiles turn to fire spirits, which can also explode. Having focused fire projectile is a must-have for this build, otherwise a majority of the fire projectiles just miss and you don't get the damage out of it. And then I think Fire Spirit combo is also just best in slot for upgrades here. just because of how many fire spirits are being created. And then I don't know if there's really too much of a difference between going upgrade or quick split afterwards. I think if you're a character that's really aggressively attacking all the time, like S is, you don't really get the effect of quick split, because I think the fire projectiles just keep constantly detonating before they can even split. But if you're a more skill-based character who's pausing between your attacks, you could get the quick split and get some more value out of that. S doesn't really need MP recovery that much, but still nice to have on her. She can always just throw down her MP skill with pretty much no cast animation. I'll care enough just to look at the Covenant. I don't think Covenants are good like 90% of the time. If you don't like tactics, then this is basically like the best thing you could get, where you can't choose double tactics and golden tactics, and they're converted to damage. Beckoning Cat is really bad, by the way, unless you have, like, Black Market that converts exchange points into damage. Because this replaces all rewards from... Like, even if you get an advanced battle space, you don't get the potential out of it anymore, you just get 300 exchange points. And it's really hard to use that amount of money on shops, because you will run out of refreshes quickly. I even clear... This is something I'm not really sure of. I haven't tested it much yet, and I'm afraid to test it. With the final area having all of the mini-bosses in a row, and then having 2 bosses, I feel like it's a lot harder to clear this obligation. I used to always take it, but I've stopped taking it for the new extreme difficulty since it has an extra area. I think I'm gonna go event over... Well, actually, let's think about it. Events are really, really powerful this patch, if you have them upgraded through entropy bonuses. But my max HP is already getting pretty low from Black Market and other events, so that's something I have to think about. A lot of the good events will take max HP. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them do. And then the other thing I have to think about is that I do have 2 stacking buffs that are based on every time I perfectly clear a stage, and for every stage I clear. I want to check something too. So Veteran's Instinct is at 56% right now. I want to see how much I get. Actually, I think it won't update yet, so I need to check it now. Yeah, it's weird. It only updates after you enter a new room. So I got 2% from that last room that I cleared. I think you get more percentage based on the type of space that you clear. So if I'm right, this advanced battle space should give more than the regular battle space. I want to take the... we don't really need the fire tactics anymore. Even though we would get a lot out of selling them, I don't mind having the extra max HP here. So yeah, You get 2% from normal battle spaces, it looks like, and then from advanced battle spaces you get 4. So that's why my calculations of this were always messed up. I wonder if boss spaces give a different amount too. Oops. Oh, so I forgot to talk about this before, but S has a couple of cool interactions with the Fire Spirit Detonation build. Any character that has some kind of like dash attack, like Lambda can do it, Jin can do it, even Hakumen can do it because his normal dash hits enemies. But anyways, since Fire Spirit Detonation is reliant on burning enemies, you can do something like Gawain with S, which it'll count as a dash. You can see like it triggers Jin passive there. And it will also apply burn and count as an attack. So it both sets off the dash burning that the fire spirits need to explode automatically, and then it also sets off the fire spirits as well. It's the same thing for just, like, if I dash through an enemy, they're going to get the burn effect, and then a crest is going to hit them, which is going to set off the fire spirits. You can use this on any character, really. It's just, some characters have the dash interactions that make it a little smoother. Is he even going to be able to move? Oh, he was able to move a little bit. Oh, Aerial Fury should be pretty easy to keep stacked up. I wonder if there's any internal cooldown on this. You would think there would be. Otherwise, you would just do like one move that hits 5 times in midair and it's permanently stacked. I wish there were any like tooltips or any indication of all in this game about when your buffs are up and when they're not, or when they're stacked. I don't understand why that's something the game doesn't have. It is kind of on point for this game, though, is giving the player very random amounts of information. Like, I've complained about this many, many times over the course of the channel, but not having any numbers on legacy passives and stuff is just ridiculous to me. Like, what passives do I have right now? Like this, for example, after HP is reduced, skill damage increases. Just how hard is it to put a number there? I think it's 30%, but I don't remember off the top of my head. There's a list of all of the legacy skills on my mega guide, which is always linked in the comments if you want to see the actual values of what the legacy passives do. It's also really weird, too. Legacy passives used to be, like, really bad, because almost all of them were just base damage increases before any other damage calculations. But, before the X update, they did a patch for legacy skills. And passives, I mean. Just legacy passives, actually, not skills. But anyways, what the patch did is that it takes place after every single other modifier. So whereas if you have multiple sources of final damage, the final damage will all get added together before it's calculated. But then legacy passives take place even after final damage. So it's like a whole nother step farther than final damage. Legacy passives are actually really impactful now when it comes to, like, the later you get in the run, the better they are. Oh yeah, another thing I should mention is that some people like Galahad a lot, and I think it is a fine build if that's what you want to run on her. I specifically never pick it up because I'm trying to do down attacks and dashes in midair, and a lot of times it'll just read Galahad inputs when I don't want them. I could technically just not pick up the upgrade where they can be activated in midair too. Really, I don't care about any more of her potentials. I'm just picking them up for damage. If you're newer and you don't know about it, there's a 20% stacking damage bonus you get for each potential. So there's never really a reason you should pass and sell potentials instead of picking them up. Even if you don't like the potentials that you have left. Oh, I thought he was attacking the other way. Oh well. There's a good example, by the way, of what I was talking about earlier in the run. Your up attack and your down attack both reset each other, so you can loop them to have infinite airtime. Alright, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and finish this area, and then I'm probably going to fully farm Alpha Sector to see how high Perfect Slaughter and Veteran's Instinct go, and then we'll meet up again before the Reki and Izanami fights. Alright, so a quick update is we got all potentials, except for Galahad. Like I said before, I don't like this one because it's easy to miss input when I'm doing air attack reset stuff with down attack and other stuff. You can take this, it's a good potential, especially for abusing invincibility frames, but I'm not using it for the way that I play her. For tactics, we went ahead and picked up Rending Impact. Despite not saying so, this is final damage, so it buffs both me and the tactic build at the same time. And then for Mind Unleashed, Perfect Slaughter ended up getting to 240%, which is pretty disappointing. I fully cleared Alpha Sector. I'm sure I missed some perfect clears before Alpha Sector, but even so, if I were to just run a tactic build with 5 red tactics, I would get 250% tactic damage, so Perfect Slaughter is, you're going way out of your way to stack it up, and you have to get it early, and then on top of that, it's just the same as tactic damage. Veteran's Instinct ended up doing a little better than I thought it would. It's at 142. That's mostly due to taking as many advanced battle spaces as I can. If you pick up Veteran's Instinct, that's something that's important to keep in mind. Advanced battle spaces are worth double of normal ones. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do Reki and Izanami, and then I'll see you guys again at the end. Alright, well aside from the black market being kind of disappointing, I'm happy with that run overall. S is always just a fun character to play. I could have made the fire tactic build a lot stronger by getting tactic damage from black market, or the Vanguard buffs even. So I didn't really get to show off the tactics that much, but I'm okay with that. It's nice to take a break from the tactics, have them still kind of complement the character, but not be so overwhelming as they have in other runs. Kind of a middle ground between my potential only runs and the runs where tactics just fully carry. Let's go check real quick, just in case anyone is interested, to see how many potential unleashed I had that run. I'm kind of interested in seeing, too.